Okay, for something completely different. I was coming off of a ukulele, which I really, really enjoyed, and I want to kind of go back to and pick up a few of the items I missed and whatever. Um, and Voodoo Vince came out, and Voodoo Vince is a game I always wanted to play, but never did. I never owned an original Xbox, but it was one of those things. I was like, I want to play Voodoo Vince. I love Banjo Kazooie. Why shouldn't I play this game? The same with Blinks the Time Sweeper. It's one of those Xbox games, original Xbox games, that I wanted to play. Never got around to. And Voodoo Vince Remastered comes out, and it's $15, and I'm like, sure, why not? Why not? Why not pick up this game? They remastered it. I don't even know what the hell that means. And you know what? Voodoo Vince, not a perfect game, but really good. And kind of super, super original that, like, it has a sense of humor, and its sense of humor isn't Banjo-Kazooie's humor. It isn't Nintendo's humor. Like, it's very much its own, kind of sarcastic, kind of goofy. Like, it has that funny thing of you're a voodoo doll, and you use your powers of like, oh, I'm going to stab myself with a bunch of needles, and all the nearby enemies are going to die because of it. Like, it has that. All the bosses kind of utilize that. Like, there's this one where you have to jump on the boss's back, and it puts you up really high. You press a switch, and opens up a hole in the floor with a spike pit. And then you jump down into the spike pit to damage the boss. So, like, a lot of these situations in the game involve hurting yourself in the ways the game wants you to, but hurting yourself to cause damage to others because you're a voodoo doll, which is very, very unique and creative. And it's kind of silly that you can get hit by enemies and that counts, but whatever. That's just negligible. I think it also does something interesting too. It's very different from a Banjo-Kazooie and maybe more akin to a Mario 64 or whatever, where there's not a lot of abilities. You're not learning a ton of new things. There's really 2 skills I'd say you learn in the entire game. And I did complete the entire thing. I collected everything in it. It doesn't take a super, about 8 hours to do everything in the game. And it's a fun time to do the whole thing. And it's very much a platformer. It's not Banjo-Kazooie where, like, I gotta help this guy find his thing, and then he gives me a jiggy, and da-da-da-da. Like, it's super linear of here's the level, and you're gonna do the level, and maybe the level is involving helping someone, sure, which is the common trope for a game like this. But after that, you're just exploring this world. I'm gonna explore this crypt. I'm gonna explore this mansion. Oh, this person wants me to do something. I'm gonna explore that for them. And you're collecting things, but it's only 2 things, or 2 or 3 things. Not a lot of things to collect. Very linear, like I said, and very platforming based. There is some combat, but I guess we'll get back to the combat. Very platforming. Like, everything in this game is about jumping from thing to thing constantly. That's what it is. It's not like getting new moves and abilities and fighting this thing. And like, no, it's about jumping. It's about double jump, spin over there, hover in midair. That's what it is. It's not this weird, like, learn 60 moves in Banjo-Tooie, or it is very much more like Mario 64, and even has a lot of mini games kind of along those lines. And some of those mini games are great. That's what's crazy about this. There's one where you're flying through. It's like a Star Wars trench run, and you're just flying this plane. And by and large, a good 80% of these mini games hold up and are still really fun. Now, the other 20% don't hold up. This is not a remake. This is a remaster. They did not remake the game. They did not fix some of the weird issues with it. Like, there's so much platforming in the game, right? And the platforming is great, and I love that. I love just solid platforming. Just platforming. Not other things involved. Just jumping, jumping, jumping. I love that. But it does this thing where you double jump, right? But if you wait too long, you don't double jump. Like, you can only do 1 jump, and if you wait until you start going down, you can't do the second jump. So you have to either do like a slightly delayed jump or just 2 jumps right away, because the other one doesn't exist, which is a little weird to get used to and very strange, but it totally works. You don't need to do anything too crazy. And the other thing it does is have these almost adventure game like puzzles where this guy wants you to play a trumpet with him, right? And like, well, how do I do that? Well, I saw in this window of a pawn shop a trumpet. okay, well, I don't have any, like, if you go into the thing, it's like, you don't have any money to buy this trumpet. Like, okay, so you leave, right? And then you go, okay, there's a contest here, win cash prizes. Okay, well, it's a masquerade ball. And then you find a mask and you put the mask on, you go to the masquerade ball, you get the money, you go into the antique shop, you buy the trumpet, you go back to the guy with the trumpet and he's like, oh, you don't play trumpet good enough. And I'm like, what the hell do I do? And there's this another building that says, oh, this is a jazz clinic. And so then you learn how to play the jazz trumpet, and then you bring the trumpet back to the guy and you play trumpet with him. And that's just a level. Like, that's one of the earlier levels. And this whole thing too is like all those places, like the jazz place and the auction house and the masquerade ball, they're all open at different times. And you're going onto this clock and changing the clock for the time of day to when you can go to these different places. And it's super creative and fun in all those ideas it does. It's incredible how many of those puzzles are in this game, and it keeps going. And there's this one towards the end of the game where you have to get a bunch of weird critters and make sausage out of them. And it's a series, it's almost like Mousetrap, where you have to move these conveyor belts and get them all into position and put the mice on them. Oh, they're not mice, such as animals. And watch them go up the conveyor belt. And these just bizarre scenarios. It's got this goofball man with his ghost face. I was really surprised by this game. Just at how, like, I expected to like it, but in how kind of different it was in these weird puzzles, or it was just solid platforming, or the way it does these like pages. You collect up on all the pages in a level, and then you unlock a skull. And the skull is how you do your voodoo powers to kill a bunch of enemies at once. And it doesn't unlock the skull, though. You have to earn it. So you go to the skull and you race it, essentially, or follow it. And if you follow too far behind, you're not going to be able to collect it. But you're going to follow it throughout the level, doing some platforming and stuff. And then it stops, and you can collect it. And the beautiful thing about this game is none of the levels really overstay their welcome. You're not in any one place or environment for so long that you're like, again, the jungle. And they're in these weird places like the bayou. There's one where you're riding a shrimp submarine. It's just so weird and fun, and it's not always trying to be like, it's not a shrimp submarine and like, haha, it's just a shrimp submarine to be weird. Like, it's not trying to be funny at every turn. It's just trying to be fun. And it harkens back to that old school style of just like, no, we're just being goofy just to be goofy. Just no like big grand joke here. It's just a shrimp submarine, or this guy just wants a gumbo. Just do it. Just help him make the gumbo. This one lady wants a balloon. Like, all right, just here's a balloon then. Just help these dumb people make their dumb little voodoo lives. And to their credit, also, the game had some issues on PC at release, and they have since patched them all away. So good job to them. You're collecting these little voodoo doo-doo-doos, and you collect 100 of them, and you don't get a life, you get more health bar. And you want that, because the game is kind of unforgiving in a certain respect. Like, it just, you have lives in this game. That's one way in which it's very old school, and you'll run out of lives. And you won't lose progress necessarily within the level, but you will die and have to reload the game and do any platforming again. So that can be annoying, especially during the final boss, which was just like all these platforming games. They have a final boss that is literally 30 minutes long. Like, a good 10% of the game is the final boss, if you look at it from a times perspective, which is insane. And it was a good fight, sure. But I don't think every final boss needs to be 16 stages dodging all these things. Oh, now here's the platforming part. Here's the part where you're flying a ship. Here's the part where it's like, all right, just relax a little bit. But it's great. Oh, and I didn't even mention the music. This game features a super unique jazzy. It's in New Orleans, Normans. It's in Norman's backyard, and super great. It's actually almost just worth going and listening to some of it. It's a really unique, fun, different soundtrack you do not hear in games ever. Like, that goes into the setting. Like I said, it's a bayou level. And like this was a puzzle. I need to kill all these things or something, so I'm going to drop myself into a blender. It's super fun and creative. I really enjoyed it. it's kind of been a nice, I've been oscillating when I wasn't playing the Prey demo for 17 hours, between Nier Automata and Voodoo Vince for a little bit. And I wanted this week actually to review Nier, but Nier is the game that never ends. Like, I'm almost, I don't know, like 27 hours into it, and I feel like I still have a third of the game left. It just never stops, and it's all incredible. So I'm not going to review that until probably next week. So I played Voodoo Vince. And I'm still shocked at how dumb I am in certain of these puzzles. But a very unique, fun game, and I think totally worth people's time. Maybe not a good time when Game of the Year Prey is coming out next week. But you got 8 hours to kill. You got $15 to throw around. It's on Xbox One. It's on PC. It's on Steam. You don't have to do any weird Xbox shenanigans. It's on Steam. I think it's Play Anywhere. Some light puzzle solving. Very creative. Like, this is a platformer's platformer. And what I mean by that is it is jumping on things. It is not collecting a bunch of coins. Like, that's there, and there's a lot of that, but it is platforming. It is all jumping. Does that even make sense? It is all jumping all the time. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Joel, any questions about Voodoo Vince? There's a pig. Does the pig do anything for you? It's a giant money pig. And these are the very early levels that are super small. They start opening up and becoming large, but never large. Like, I would say they're all kind of similar in size or smaller than a Mario 64 world. They're not very big, but they do a great job. And it never overstays its welcome or has some stupid cutscene for 7 hours or does a challenge. Like, a couple of the challenges are challenging, but beyond that, pretty normal. Look at little Vince, man. Boop, 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 boop. Look at him hop around. It's not Prey, but it'll do. And that's the show for this week. A little short. Hopefully next week. What's next week? Nier. I'm gonna try and dedicate a whole hour, almost, to Nier Automata. I think the game deserves it. As much as I hyped up Prey, Nier is a one-of-a-kind, special game that people need to go back and play. And the wind is picking up again, and I don't appreciate it. So it's a show every week, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Let me go back and forth in my chair a little bit. Twitch.tv/TheGameFanatics. I stream on my own channel as I go back and forth in like a weird Doppler. It's howling. Twitch.tv/BenReacts. I stream Mario Maker on Saturday evenings and Monday evenings, and then Wednesday afternoons. I'm going to bring afternoons back. Do whatever. Probably going to be Nier. Even though it's my third playthrough, which doesn't even mean anything because, oh my god, the game's so good. It's just so unique. We need more games like Nier. We need fewer games like Voodoo Vince. We got enough. We got one. That's probably enough. Maybe a few more. But we need more experiences. Experiences like Nier. That's what it is. All right, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Look at it. Look at him bounce and hop. He's a cute little guy. Look at him. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop.